It's been a little while, man. A lot has happened over the last. I think it's been almost a year since I last spoke to you. You've had a few fights, but before we get into that, man, how's being a father for the first time, man? That's really exciting news. I've seen some of your stories as well, man. It's great to see that. How's things with that?
Uh, Dad life has been good. It's more so just trying to be available when mom's not feeding and just give her time to rest. So a lot of times I feel helpless, not being able to help much, but it's getting better. She's getting bigger. So she's about 3 months on this coming Tuesday. So it's fun.
Is it everything that you kind of expected? Like, is it more? Just generally speaking, how is?
Yeah, we haven't had like she's still fairly small, so it's nothing no surprises yet, you know. Um I don't she's a really chill baby, fun, she's happy, so that's all I hope for.
That's awesome. Are you so? I know you're in Sweden at the moment. Is that correct? I don't know if I got that right.
Yeah, I'm currently in Malmo, Sweden
Okay.
at the moment. And I'm traveling in between here in Norway trying to handle passport things
Yeah.
for my baby before I can come back. Because we can't travel with her out of the EU until she has a passport.
Okay, that makes sense. So, are
So the
you?
goal is to get to America.
How long have you been? Oh, so is the plan for all of you guys to go, back to the States then, Charles?
Yeah, yeah. So that the process has been taking a lot longer. A lot of paperwork, things messed up on their end. We did everything we were supposed to do, and it's been a extra 5 weeks here. They messed up with the birth certificate and something else. And we went and did some other paperwork they messed up with. So it's just really frustrating and irritating, but can't do much but be patient.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're based in Sweden at the moment. Are you still training at the moment? Is that still an ongoing process? Has
Uh,
that taken a little bit of a back burner whilst you get your affairs in order? Well, what's the situation with that, Charles? So I'm just going to ask you to repeat that last bit again, Charles. Sorry about this, but
no,
just
you good.
yeah, just explain to the folks at home. Obviously, with a little bit of technical issues earlier. Yeah, just explain to the folks at home what's happening with yourself in terms of training, your family situation, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So I've been living here. I'm in Malmo, Sweden now. I've been going back and forth between Malmo and I'll be going back between here and Norway to handle passports things with my baby girl. She just got born. She'll be 3 months on Tuesday. So just been a back and forth between trying to handle paperwork with that and having to be patient because the process, nothing on our end any more than we can do. We did everything we were supposed to. So outside of that, just getting back to training. I had to sit down for a little while. I had a couple contusions in my hand. I thought it was broken, but it wasn't. But it was enough for me to have a cast on and sit down for a while.
Wow.
Basically, I fought like my last when I fought in January. I knocked out Flick is when I re-injured it,
Yes.
and then I took the Ode fight on 9 days notice, and I was throwing a lot of elbows. I was in Thailand, and that's why I was throwing all those elbows in that
Yeah.
fight because my right hand was bothering me a lot. And then I got time for the Cody Durden fight, um, in which I was fine. I felt good. But once I got into the fight, I think I re-injured it because it like blew up during the fight and I couldn't
Mm.
throw it like I wanted to. So it's just little frustrating things to deal with. And I said after that fight, I was like, I'm gonna really try to take some time and go get this looked at
Yeah.
and if see if I'm really injured, what's going on here. So um that's about the gist of everything that's been going on right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even the Zuma Gulov fight, the Jimmy Flick, and then even the
Yeah.
Ode. I actually thought you won the Ode Osbourne fight. I mean,
Everybody I've spoken to,
I thought
everybody's
it was you,
comment
man.
said I won that fight, and not
Yeah,
just
bro.
fans. You can if you look at him, he was dejected. He had his
Oh
head
man.
down, going to his corner. And I fought that fight on 9 days' notice. I was literally chilling on a boat with Sanchai. like literally having buffet on a boat with my, like just
Oh, no way.
relaxing, like yeah, like seriously. And
Damn.
I took the fight because I was in Thailand. Muhammad was there, and I was like, I kind of been like, I wasn't going every session to practice, but I was going every other day to Tiger and training, and I was casually training. But after I took the fight, I went every day. I was doing like 3 days, like because I wasn't too far out of shape from the Jimmy Flick fight, and so because that fight was February 20 something, and I fought
Yes.
January 13th.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was like almost a little over a month. So like think about like 3 weeks I did nothing.
That's crazy.
I traveled to Norway, and then I traveled to Thailand from there, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And
Hey,
so like
sorry. Yeah.
taking the Ode fight, when I took the Ode fight, it was like 30-hour commute back to the US in
Wow.
between different flights because you got layovers. And then when you get there, it's a huge time difference. And then you go from humid weather to in February, for some reason, it was hail and dry air.
Yeah, yeah.
When we were there, it hailed, and then it was like warm and dry, but dry, like really dry and super windy, like blowing doors open. So you go from humid to that. So I think that played a little bit during fight week, like I'm cutting weight and stuff like that. And it's
Definitely
hard to
one way.
manage. It's hard to manage it. But
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
same time, in my head, I was like, man, I'm good. Whatever it is, what it is. I took this fight. So before and after that fight, I never blame those things. It's just the adversities. I I don't make excuses when I win and lose. It's just I take sometime on too much adversity, right?
Yeah,
Like then I need to, and so moving out of that fight, my coach was like, "Yeah, we're not gonna do no more short notice fights
yeah. I was gonna
because
ask
after
you.
because after the Jimmy Flick fight, you could have called for anyone,
Yeah, 100%, man.
and,
That was a sensational knockout. And Jimmy Flick is no joke, man. I know he was out for a little bit, but
yeah.
he's been like that. He's been one of the top dogs for a long, long time. So
Well, he was ranked. He was ranked before he retired,
oh yeah,
and
100%, man.
and I think the game has passed him a little
Yeah,
bit. I think he still can compete with guys who are ranked and guys who aren't ranked, but I just think the game is kind of um, he'll never beat me, but it's guys that he can definitely beat.
yeah,
And I wouldn't say that he should retire or anything, but I just think that I'm just a better fighter when we match up. As so you take all that into account. I took the Cody Durden fight because we have been going back and forth for a
yeah,
while online, and that fight plays out how it plays out. Um, Another fight where kind of like I was a little over aggressive and gave up my back
yeah,
2 times more than I should have had, and then in the third round he just caught me on my southpaw side and got a takedown, um, and was able to keep that back, just literally jump into the back as soon as he could and locking in and guys have figured out their route to beating me, which is let's hold this guy in positions and kill time, like
yeah. I
because
mean, it did look like that.
we can't out scramble him, and we can't usually out strike him or much else, right? So Muhammad is the only person to out scramble me, and he's phenomenal at scrambles as well. So there's very few guys who are going to be able to beat him in scramble situations. And so, for me, it was frustrating. It was very frustrating, but that's
Yeah.
where we're at now.
I mean, just in terms of the emotions going into that, obviously there was a lot of trash talk between the two of you. Do you feel like you got almost too emotional going into that? Like, did you feel like you should have been a bit more controlling your emotions? Again, I'm just asking. I'm not too sure.
No,
That's the
it
case.
was more so the game plan was to put him on his back foot because he does well going forward.
Yeah,
And I've been working on moving forward more in my fights. That's what was the problem when I fought Muhammad. I was around the black line too much. He was able to get me against the cage and use the cage to take me down. When we were in open space, I stopped his shots, right?
Yeah.
So it was something in my head. I'm like, okay, I got to try to keep the center more, but it's hard to do. The apex is smaller, and I move a lot. But so with that camp specifically for Durden, it was to put him on his back foot and put the pressure on him. And I was just a little too over aggressive in a couple situations. He took advantage of angles and just got to the position he wanted to get to and held it. He did a really good job of mixing his jujitsu in with his wrestling. But he just kind of just got to the back and put it on figure four and just kind of like piggybacked me.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't want to stand up, man. I mean, that's clear. That was
Yeah, I caught him with something, and I didn't take
yeah,
advantage of it in the second. He started waning a little bit, and then in the third, I stopped 3 takedowns, and then he forced the fourth one. Kind of caught me off balance, and I knew a shot was coming, and I was still trying. I thought I was. I don't know. He forced the takedown. He got it.
yeah,
He mind over anything. He went and got that takedown. Can't take it from him,
yeah,
and then he just kind of held on to that back and you know, um, yeah, it is what it is. I really, in my heart, I don't feel like these guys have really beat me in a fight. They just
yeah,
kind of win the competitions. The Ode fight,
yeah,
took the fight about 3 minutes to get going, but I felt like I won the first round and the second round as well. And then the third round I was winning and he got 2 takedowns, but both of them I pulled into submissions.
mm,
Like the very last one, he got a takedown, but I got up immediately. He took another shot. I sprawled, almost got on his back, and we stood back up and struck to the end.
that
But he
was
didn't have it. He didn't have any. He didn't have any. In my mind, I'm like, he didn't have any moments in this fight. And I didn't take enough moments either. But at the end of the day, I felt like I did enough. I got really tired in that fight. It was a combination of everything that was from the travel to the sinus infection to taking it on 9 days notice,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
But I can say I was in shape. But I don't on a full camp. I don't think he beats me.
mhm.
Um, he was very athletic. He did a good job at implementing things he worked on in his camp. And he had the benefit of a full camp,
Yes, that's what I was gonna
and the
say.
benefit of living in Vegas.
Yeah,
He lives and trains there. And so, like I said, I'm always putting myself up to like more adversity than I need to. And so moving forward, the goal is to get um, better matchups. Honestly, I just want to put on shows like for the fans because I keep getting stuck with the same matchmaking as far as like grappler, jiu-jitsu guys that don't want to really fight, like they just hold in. And that shit's boring, you know?
yeah. Well, you had a very interesting call out the other day on one of your posts. Daji. I'm like, that's a freaking good matchup. And
Yeah, it's
what
just
kind of made
about
you think I'm gonna guys the next one?
are they gonna let me get the fight, And I'll be on my sixth fight here, man.
Yeah,
And I'm not trying to fight these contender series guys on their first, second fight, like and these every fight's tough. It doesn't matter who you're fighting. I want to be fighting for something. Stop putting me through these guys, like I don't know. I want to be fighting for something. So you give me Sumudarji in an arena anywhere, it's gonna be a tough night for him.
yeah, and
And
it's
I believe I win that fight
yeah,
9 times, 10 times out of 10 because of the grappling
mm,
and the cardio factor. He's never gonna grapple me. So I'm gonna grapple him before he grapples me. And he's shown that when you grab him, he gets tired,
yeah,
you know. So
and
in my opinion, he hasn't beaten any. I've faced in my career, I've faced way tougher competition than him. And he's only ranked because of the area he's from, in my opinion, and the views he's gonna bring. When he got ranked, it was pandemic time, and he fought a guy who had 3 fights before he got in the UFC and went 0-3 in the UFC.
yeah,
Like That was one of his fights to get ranked, and the other one nobody knows, right? So those two wins got him ranked, and then he finally fought somebody of any caliber, which was Matt Schnell, and he was doing well, striking. Matt's
Definitely.
always had a difficult time with getting hit on the chin, but Matt shows superior skill, superior cardio, superior technical skill. If he doesn't get clipped a couple of times, that fight's not close,
Yeah.
So, and I've seen Matt train, I've been around Matt training. So for me, it was just like, I know I beat that guy. And then I see a guy like David Dvorak, like he came into the UFC with a lot of win streak. Everybody does.
Mm.
But when it comes to like actual competition, he's not that great, And they gifted Usyk a ranked fight in his very first fight, And I get it, you got to fill in a late replacement, but at the end of the day, like he's not the only one who would have been able to beat David Dvorak that night, in my opinion.
Yeah,
So
you said in interviews as well in the past, yeah, flyweights is just a very tough division. You've got most of it is consisted of former champions. So you're fighting killers, yeah, from the off. Do you feel like it's one of the hardest divisions to kind of really make him name it and get ranked? Because before it wasn't really seen as that, and now it's a shark pit out there, no?
I think the flyweights walk around with this false narrative over their heads that from the past that people have placed on them, and it's all casual shit. Because like if you look at the actual weight class, 1 through 15 are like legit
Right.
champions,
Definitely.
and 1 through 25 damn near, because when they remade the weight class, it was all champions. And then you bring in champions. I only brought in champions or contender series undefeated guys. So
Yeah.
what is the weight class now? Undefeated guys, champions, and vets like Tim Elliott, who
Mm.
was Ultimate Fighter, right? Like it's nothing but sharks in this weight class. And so when it comes to skill, everybody knows flyweight and bantamweight and featherweight are the most skilled weight classes in the UFC. And flyweight probably is the most skilled because it's the most action for 15 minutes,
Yeah.
nonstop. Skill, 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 skill. Big boys do that for 2 minutes and that's it. They
Yeah.
tired.
True.
They tired. They don't have as wide a skill set. What they're good at, they're phenomenal at. But when it comes to pound for pound, skill for skill, Demetrius Johnson showed that. Henry Cejudo showed that. These guys have shown that this weight class is different. Um, and so, like this false narrative, we have to walk around and continually prove ourselves on pay-per-views. It's been proven. Um, Anybody who fights Brandon Moreno because of his style is going to be a phenomenal matchup because he doesn't mind punching.
Yeah.
He predominantly boxes everyone, and you're gonna get hit in 4 ounce gloves.
Yeah.
So it's always going to be an entertaining fight when he steps up. You know, that's why all his fights have been candidate of the years, fight of the years.
100%, man. Yeah, I mean it is very, very kind of elite level. Now that you've been in the UFC, you're obviously a few fights in. Do you feel like you've got your rhythm yet? Like, do you feel like because you're basically a mainstay within the UFC at the moment? Do you finally feel like you got your rhythm, or do you feel like there's just tons more to show to the fans?
No, man, I don't think I've been able to really show anybody much because of my matchups and because of me not, you know, taking advantage of the opportunities.
Yeah,
I think I've had opportunities in fights, and whether it was a short notice fight or I was dealing with something or I just got tired, you know, it's been I haven't put on my best foot yet. And so I think with the right matchups and at the end of the day, I have to win my next fight. The UFC they don't care. I'm on a 2-fight losing streak now. Even though it's back to back, I have the most fights and I'm the most tested athlete in the UFC right now. I have the most fights in
definitely.
last year and I'm the most tested.
I mean, getting Makayev in the
And
first
I'm
debut. Oh my goodness, man. Who's gonna say yeah? A lot of people will just be like, I'm all right. I'm okay. I don't want Makayev as a first fight, but big balls are still. You just thought, nah, I'm gonna
Nah,
fight.
it is what it is, bro. Like I gotta get in here, right? but the thing is, like now I'm 2-3 because I dropped the Ode fight, and so and the Cody Durden fight, even though it's back to back, and so they're gonna cut me after my next fight if I don't win. That's the UFC. That's how they do business. So like I'm not a mainstay unless I win this fight. So I'm in a very tough situation. But at the end of the day, all you can do is win and dictate your future that way.
Hey, it only takes one, eh? You know,
Yeah.
only takes one to get back in. So in terms of, I actually did have a question in terms of something that's happened fairly recently. It was actually to do with, I don't know if you've seen that comment. I had to ask you this, but remember, do you know that podcaster Bradley Martin? Some of his comments that he's made recently. He's a big 260-pound kind of podcaster, and he was like, I think Brendan Shaw was like, how would you fare in a street fight? How do you think you'd fare in a street fight between him and no, sorry, he even said like, no, I think Demetrius Johnson would smash you and you're 260.
Hmm.
Did you see that clip at all? I don't know if you've heard that.
I haven't. What does he do? What does the
Yeah, so
guy do?
he's a bodybuilder slash podcaster. He's not
Uh,
trained, he's never kind of trained martial arts or anything
yeah.
like that. Yeah, I mean, have you ever had that? Like, you've got some big guy like 120 kilos, and you're like,
Oh yeah.
I could probably take you out, man. Like, what are you like?
Yeah,
100
yeah,
pounds
yeah.
less
But
than me?
those guys are still scary because if they grab you, they can mess you up. It's still like juice heads, right? They
Yeah.
got that 30 seconds of inhuman strength in them, right? But once you get past that little first minute, they ass tired. So anything can happen. Anything can happen, and it probably will. So, but yeah, man, like just don't play with grown men.
That's
Like
true. That's true.
at the end of the day, Demetrius Johnson is a grown man, and he's one of the most skilled martial artists in the world and ever. So, you know, he understands the risk just as much as you, I hope.
Well, that's okay. So let me rephrase it, yeah, because you know Ronnie Coleman, right? The
Familiar,
bodybuilder,
yes. Yes.
massive bodybuilder, Ronnie Coleman.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
no, he's about 280, yeah.
Yeah.
How do you think a prime Ronnie Coleman and the prime you versus prime Ronnie Coleman does in a fight?
In a fight,
Yeah, yeah, man. It's
it'd be
280.
tough.
He's got no
It's tough,
skills.
man. It don't matter. It's tough, man. These dudes are,
Really?
yeah, it's tough. They strong, man. Like you can't account like the pound for pound strength there. I'm not the largest guy. I'll mess them up. Don't get me wrong, but it's not many places you can go within the parameters of a fight, right?
Yeah,
So if we're in the street, it's different. But
yeah,
if
man.
we're in
He
the
was talking.
cage, we're in the cage. It's like I'm gonna have to survive for a good few minutes before I can actually do what I need to do.
You just have to make him gas up, man.
Yeah,
Just, just start running around.
you're praying that this guy gets tired. That's
Yeah,
what you're
yeah. Oh,
doing.
he will get tired, man. I mean, he's not
You
used to
know?
fighting, you know.
Yeah. And he probably won't hit you. He probably won't touch you, But at the end of the day, if he grabs you, that's all that matters.
That's literally what he said, And maybe because he goes,
Yeah.
"This is a street fight, yeah. If it's just a street fight, because he mentioned the first guy he mentioned was Devin Haney, and Devin Haney's like 140,
But they don't know how. See, box is different.
but that's different.
Boxers ain't mixed martial artists. We
Agreed.
know how to move weight, carry weight,
Yeah,
handle, disperse weight. Boxers, they some of them do, like Terence Crawford, because he was an all-state wrestler in high school,
yeah, yeah,
right? So he knows how to wrestle. He's a wrestler from the beginning, right? And so his kids wrestle. He understands how to move bodies and how to carry himself, and he's grounded. He has a good base. But boxers, it's different. Those guys don't like being grabbed. They're not used to being grabbed. They're not used to being pushed around. And every single boxing match I had against guys who had way more experience than me, by the third or fourth round, I was moving them around the ring.
yeah,
So like I was able to grab them, move them, make the fight uncomfortable, push them back. And I'm fighting at 140, a weight class, like my walking weight,
yeah, yeah.
These guys are naturally bigger
160,
than me.
150,
They're naturally bigger than me. You get me? So I
yeah,
never got knocked down. I never got hurt in a boxing match. But and most of the boxing matches by the fourth round, I'm moving them around. Right. So it's different with a boxer. Boxer and a bodybuilder, boxer if they Devin Haney, they probably get messed up. But if they like a bigger boxer, they fine. As opposed to MMA, now we different. We're different. I think that a trained MMA guy can hang with most humans in the world. Like a
Definitely.
high level, like UFC caliber, one championship
Yeah.
caliber Bellator, like can hang with most people in the world.
100%. But moving on, because I wanted to ask you this question and get your opinion, because I don't know if you remember this, Charles. Yeah, you had some fight. You did some fight analysis for it, the Izzy and Alex Pereira fight, the first time they fought.
Yeah,
Man, you got it dead
yeah,
on. Like you
yeah,
could put money on that, man. Honestly,
yeah,
that was good, and that
yeah.
was no prep. Yeah, so I'm just gonna ask you, who do you think wins? Yeah, Ngannou or Tyson Fury?
I've never seen Ngannou box.
Same.
Now,
Yeah.
um, he is large enough in stature where he'll be able to be in range of Tyson, but I can't see in any realm in a boxing match where he can close the distance and hit Tyson in the face.
That's true. Yeah,
You
that's
know, like he might get a nice body shot off here and there, but Tyson is one of the most elusive heavyweights to
100%.
ever box.
Hey, Charles.
Right?
Hey, nice to meet you. You brought a friend with you.
Hey,
How are you?
yeah,
How you doing?
had to change a diaper.
Yeah, that's fair enough. It's probably a good time that break came in as well.
Yeah, it was perfect time.
It's good, man. Okay, so yeah, we moved past the Francis Ngannou fight. There's a fight this weekend, in fact, yeah. Another kind of novel boxing thing. Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz.
Ah,
Tell me what you yeah, go on. Tell me what you think about this. Go on.
I don't know. I don't know. With as far as the Tyson Fury fight, Tyson Fury is the most elusive fight that boxer heavyweight, one of the most elusive of all time. So I see it hard for Francis to connect, but if he does connect, it's trouble for anybody. So anything can happen. It's heavyweights, but it's a very minimal chance that he wins that fight. But if he does, he does, and it'll be a looping one of those that catches Tyson and he don't expect it. But if Wilder couldn't do it, I don't really see how
Man,
Francis did it.
I,
Do it, you know?
I see. This is the thing. I think Jimmy the other day. Jimmy, I'm not sure if you remember Jimmy Manuel, but a fighter
Yeah,
from
I'm very familiar.
yeah, a while back. So we spoke about this, and he goes, I think we both kind of made like maybe he can hit harder than Wilder." And then I rewatched some of Wilder's clips here, and I'm like, no way, man. Wilder's speed is just
And Wilder hit a motherfucker with like
angles.
he won't even hit you with like the part of the fist he's supposed to hit you with, and he'll still
Yeah,
knock you out. Like
bro,
he'll hit you with his wrist and hurt you.
man,
Like
bro,
he's swinging like this and knocking
yeah,
people
like
out.
windmills, actual windmills, and weird angles as well. And it's like, what the hell are you doing? And it works, man. And he
He
man,
knocking people out with his wrist. That's different.
bro, unbelievable, unbelievable. But like, I don't
So
know, man.
yes, you
Francis,
know,
yeah, like I just don't. I personally, I love Francis. I love the fact he's getting more money. I don't think
yeah.
I don't think he's got hope in hell, man. Honestly, like of beating Tyson
I
Fury.
mean, at the end of the day, everybody got to punch his chance, right? So we'll see. We'll see. He
Listen,
might prove a lot of people wrong, but I doubt it. I think it's a big bag that he won't, and that's
oh
what he
man,
gonna get. You know.
listen,
You know,
I've been saying this for the longest time. If Francis Ngannou wins, yeah, I actually think this will be the biggest upset in combat sports history of all time. Like number one, in my opinion. I can't think of anything.
yeah, it
What's
would be up there. I don't know what I don't know of any other that we would speak of, but it probably would be the one. It's like yeah, I mean, but it ain't like too crazy. But within combat sports, yeah.
yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah, and so like the Jake Paul, so as far as Jake Paul and Nate Diaz, like I don't know how serious Nate is taking the fight. But if Nate's serious about it, Jake Paul looks great as
Yeah,
far as boxing goes. For me, I never downplay any man that I value effort.
yeah,
And Jake Paul has put in a lot of effort to create himself into a professional boxer. And he's working. He has a full team around him. He's working 24/7. I never second guess that, you know. So it could be I mean, it's hard because like before we didn't want to root for Jake Paul, but
Yeah.
now it's like I respect him. I don't know about other
Same.
people.
Oh man,
As
same.
a fighter, when it comes to everything else, it's over there. Like I don't really pay attention to much of it. But like when it comes to fighting, I respect his journey and I respect the work and the effort he's put in to create himself as a professional boxer. And so just him being able to get a fight against the people he's gotten fights against says something. And for him to be able to beat these guys says something. So we'll see. But if Nate isn't taking it serious, he's gonna get knocked out. It's
Yeah,
that simple.
I think so. Yeah, and Nate is
But
known.
if Nate is taking it serious, if
Yeah,
Nate is taking it serious, the one issue where I think he thrives and the issue that Jake has a problem and it takes time when it comes to fighting is fighting on the inside. And Nate Diaz is a phenomenal fighter on the inside. He know how to dirty box people on the inside, blah, 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 and make it dirty. If Jake can keep it at length and keep it at arm's length and big shots and use his jab and start implementing the boxing he's learned, he has a good chance of touching up Nate. And we don't, if Nate gets tired or because you can get tired in a boxing match. We'll see.
yeah,
We've never seen Nate Diaz go 12 rounds in a boxing match. So
that's true.
um it's questions that need to be answered, and we'll find that out. But I think the one area where Nate Diaz can have a lot of success and where he will beat Jake, if he does beat him, is fighting him on the inside, dirty boxing him, as far as like getting on the inside, going to the body, keeping it in really close quarters. Don't let him be out there. Get in there, boom, 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 put him against the ropes, boom, make it tight, make it like Maidana, right?
Yeah,
Keep it tight, keep it ugly, but clean within the rules.
yeah.
If he does that, he has a chance at beating them. But if he tries to, I don't know. We'll see. We'll
Wait till
see.
see. We'll see that becomes a reality, and I'll just clip that a bit.
Yeah.
right
Because if
next.
he's not taking it serious, he's gonna get hurt.
That's
So
true. That's true. What do you think of Jake calling out Nate? Yeah, the MMA right after that as well. I think that's a bit of a silly move, but uh,
call out who?
so Jake said, yeah, look, we'll do the boxing fight first, and then right after this, we'll do an MMA fight in PFL.
We'll see. I mean, those guys like to talk a lot. I don't think that it happens. But if Nate wins, what's his purpose of coming over to MMA, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So it gives Nate incentive to lose, but I'm not seeing Nate as one for throwing fights. I see Nate for one for getting in there and then like getting tired and walking out the ring type thing. I hope he don't do that. I would be really disappointed if he did that. But we'll see, man. Like you never know. You never know. I think to this point in his career, Nate has done a good job at being a showman and um, go in there and fight people. You know,
for
I
sure.
just hope that he shows up. That's
Yeah, I
all.
mean, I'm gonna tune in. I mean, like it's Nate Diaz.
Why not?
Yeah,
Why not? And Jake Paul is fun to watch too, man. Like, cause he's getting good matchups with people, and it's you want to see it. So like, it's not like he's fighting somebody nobody knows.
yeah, and he's progressively fighting better competition. He started with Ben Askren,
Yeah.
who isn't a great
Well,
boxer.
if he, I
Well,
mean,
Tommy Fury is a professional boxer, and he fought him. So you can't say
yeah.
he's ducking people now.
The
You know.
thing is, like, he made a statement, and it is true. And I was saying it before he said it. I was like, the guys he's fought at this point in his career, these boxers that we see now that get to 20-0, they don't even fight that level of competition that early in their
That's true.
career.
Yeah,
They fight cans with lopsided records
absolutely.
who take falls and they
Yeah,
get a bunch of knockouts until they get about 20-0, and then they finally see somebody worth it damn.
yeah. No, I mean it's
That's
not
what
like
happens
yeah. I mean that's just typical. Even like
because the O in boxing is so heavily weighted. And
yes,
so you don't, these guys go through, like when I was boxing, um, I boxed a guy and somebody said in the live feed, I remember watching it back, it was like, yeah, we need to talk to his coach about that matchup. because he should never have been fighting that guy.
Oh, wait, why?
The guy that was fighting me, because I beat him, but it was ruled a draw. But they was like, he shouldn't be fighting anybody like me. That's a tough fight like this right now. You get what
Really?
I'm saying?
Wow.
Like it was too early for him to have. He should be out here fighting, like winning these fights decisively. It's not good for his career, you know. And so that's just how boxing
Yeah,
works. You know, they don't want they want a little bit of opposition, but they don't want nothing. They want to go in there knowing they're gonna win a fight. They're the A side, get a knockout, build up their wins, their money, their rep, you know, until they can get a big fight worth some actual money.
definitely. Yeah, that's the difference between a boxing and MMA. Like I like boxing, but again, there's just too, as you said, there's too much emphasis on the zero. Like
Yeah,
you lose the zero, and then all of a sudden you're losing zeros on your paycheck.
yeah,
It's not the same thing. Even if it's a spirited performance. Like
yeah.
yeah, I don't know if you've heard this recently. We've had who's the guy that Terence Crawford faced recently? Errol Spence. People are saying Errol Spence should retire now, which is crazy. He
Yeah,
had one loss, and they're like,
yeah.
you should get out of here, man.
He didn't put up the best showing for himself, but also he's made a lot of money.
Yeah,
So people are weird that way. They like to cancel out people and greatness and tell people what they should do with their lives when they're sitting from their couch, you know, and they've never done anything, you know. So it's or when they faced adversity, they've chosen to take another route or choosing to move on to something else. They say they're moved to the next chapter, but really they didn't want to continue facing that opposition. They found a way out in their mind, but they checked it off as, oh, I'm gonna move to broadcasting or I'm gonna move to this, right? I think that for somebody to say, I'm gonna take this fight again, I'm gonna take this challenge again. And if it's at 154, that's great. I think it takes way more. Only a champion can say that. Only somebody
yeah,
who's seen it, who's come from nothing, can say that. So I respect Errol. I knew in my heart that Bud had all the skill to win that fight, and I felt it was going to be a lot closer fight. But when the fight played out how it did, I wasn't surprised,
mm,
because if Bud's jab is going, everything else in the toolbox is great. Which his jab was way stiffer and it hurt Errol a lot
yeah,
more
yeah,
than any other punch that fight. So um it was phenomenal to see the fight actually happen. It was respect to both, because we came up in a time when Pacquiao and Mayweather didn't happen.
yeah. I
Um,
know, man.
like what's that?
Not in their prime anyway.
Hagler and Sugar Ray didn't happen.
Yeah,
Hearns and Sugar Ray didn't have, like it took so long for these fights to happen. It's nice to see 28-0 versus 39-0 fight each other.
definitely.
That was really nice to see. And if they do it at 154 and Errol's more hydrated and he's not in Dallas in that heat and going to Vegas heat, maybe it's a different fight. Because a lot of things happen right before the fight. And if you don't manage that correctly, you could throw away a whole 3 months of work.
Yeah,
It
yes,
could have been anything. It could have been the weather. It could have been the weight cut, but he looked good on the scales. He looked actually fuller
yeah,
after when he cut weight than he ever has before, and he looked healthy. So anything could have happened. It could have just been a mental stress. It could have been him managing the last hour up until he fought. It could have been anything, right? We don't know. It could have been an adrenaline dump. It could have been anything. So Crawford did a great job of managing those things. Errol didn't.
yeah,
Errol's timing, hitting his timing was off. He just was off. So like it happens.
yeah, for sure.
Hopefully we see the fight again. We'll get all our answers.
I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing it again. I think someone even mentioned something, because again, I'm not going to allude to being a massive boxing fan, but Errol Spence, they were saying that Errol Spence might have been a bit confused, yeah, or not confused, but he might have been thrown off because Terence Crawford decided to fight in Southpaw, and he's never done that.
No, Terence Crawford fights almost all his fights in Southpaw. He
Oh, really?
switches.
I
And
switched.
yeah, it's been fights where he only fought. Like when he fought Lundy, he knocked him out with his left hand from the Southpaw stance.
Okay, so I don't know anything.
And Lundy was a 35er coming up. to that weight class. So he was a smaller 140, 147 pounder. I don't forget what weight class they were fighting that belt at. But Lundy was a smaller guy from Philadelphia, scrappy dude, explosive, athletic. And at first, Bud came out and he went at him. And then after the first round, he made adjustments and then he started picking them apart from the outside from southpaw. He When Bud switches to ortho, he just like me. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm the same way because I'm naturally right-handed, but I fight southpaw. And when I fight you southpaw, I'm really just tagging you, and I've developed my left hand now where my left hand hurts people. So when I switch to orthodox, I'm trying to get you out of there.
Kind of like Dustin Poirier, right?
Yeah, like I'm getting you out of there. If I hit you and I hurt you from southpaw, that's what I did when I fought Carlos Mota.
Yeah, yeah.
I switched, boom,
Oh,
and I switched, and I went body, boom, and I came back here, boom, knocked him out with my right hand behind me. It's just some fighters have the ability to do that, and Terence is one of those guys. And when you understand, he's like Lennox Lewis was the same way. He knew how to wrestle. He knew how to wrestle. He knew boxing, and he knew another form of martial art. When you can mix those things in a boxing match and move people around and not be worried about stuff and aware of everything that can come at you, it's just different.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean that's yeah, like I definitely need to watch a little bit more boxing, man. Like it seems to
Yeah.
be heating up a little bit the last few months for sure, man. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna switch up, Charles, because I've got a fan
Cool.
question for you, yeah. And
What's
look,
up?
I know you're massive, massive, massive One Piece fan. You're massive, yeah. And the question is from one of my friends, yeah. What is your favorite One Piece fight? I don't watch One Piece myself, but this is just for him, so I have to ask you.
Uh, I right now I just got out of the Enos Lobby arc, so
Okay.
I got so much One Piece to watch. Like I'm way behind. I just started watching One Piece about this year, months ago. Like when baby was gonna be born. When I left from, I like I would have been watching episodes here and there, but because of
Yeah, yeah.
camps, I couldn't really watch so I sat down with just like binging it. And so Enos Lobby got to be against Rob Lucci when he fought Rob Lucci. I think that fight was epic because Rob Lucci was like, he was like this dude that can transform into like this tiger type
Okay.
being, and when he was a kid, like he killed like a bunch of assassins. So like he was just a goat from the time he was a kid. So imagine that guy as an adult, right?
Okay.
Every time he shows up, somebody dead. Like he's a assassin for hire. Like he's the man. Like everybody here, Rob Lucci, they like scared. You're gonna die, right?
Man, I
and
love to
I think that fight was dope, man. It was pretty cool.
I love to pretend to know what you were talking about because
It's
every
all right.
every no every time one of my friends, yeah,
It looked like you got One Piece
what?
on your wall, but that's
Bro,
Avatar, ain't it?
yes, I was waiting for you
Yeah,
to recognize this. In fact, I'll just push this up, yeah, because
yeah,
uh,
that's Avatar.
yeah. So this is wait, hold up. I don't know if you can see that properly.
Oh,
So
that's
my
Ace.
friend
I
did
thought
this.
that was Avatar.
No. My friend did
No,
this.
that's Ace.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dankest Doodles. I give him a shout out, man. Like he did this.
yeah, that's fire.
I was waiting for you to kind of spot that.
Yeah, it's fire. It's funny. You got that tiger up there too. I just posted a picture with the
Yeah.
tiger
That's him
today.
as well. That's him too, man. Dankest Doodles. I give him a
Yeah,
shout out for that, man. But
it's fire, man. Tell him to
yeah.
send me something.
What's that? Yeah, no, he
I
will.
gotta
He
tell
will.
him. I gotta hit him up. Tell him to send me
Oh,
something.
100%. Follow him on Instagram. In fact, guys, follow him, Dankest Doodles. We'll do a little plug here, man.
Yeah, just tag it to me after the video.
Yeah, 100%, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, Charles, I think I've got one final question for you, just generally speaking. So you got four fight. Well, I think you initially said you wanted to do 5 fights this year. Is the next fight in November then? Is that the plan?
Yeah, my timeline's been kind of ruined for the year, with taking the L and then this whole baby passport situation is been had me to sit down a lot longer, which is fine. I think I'll be a lot healthier next time I walk in there. I haven't ran in the camp and since before Muhammad because I almost ruptured my Achilles
Oh shit.
training for Muhammad. I was in a boot that whole camp.
Yeah.
And then I got out of the boot with 4 weeks before the fight. And so I haven't ran since that fight because I was worried about it. And so I started back running this past week. I'm doing like 3 miles a day, 4 miles a day right now. So feeling good. I got some weight to get off me, but it's not much. It's really, I feel good, man. Like my last fight, I felt phenomenal, like strong. My weight cuts have been kind of tough, but I think with me running again, I weighed in at 124 when I fought Carlos Mota. I know I can make the weight. I was running for that camp. You know, I haven't been able to run. So now that I think I'll be able to run again. And I've been substituting it so much, I think I can't anymore. Um, Once I start doing that, man, I'm excited. And so we're looking at November or December for a fight. And whoever it is, I'm going out there on my shield to win the fight, fighting for my contract really because I know how the UFC works. You know, I'm two fight, even though they was back to back, even though it was bullshit, even though they don't care.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's wins and losses, and I win my next fight, I'll be 3-3, and either they make me fight out my contract or I get a new one, which if I do what I plan on doing, I think I'll just get a new contract.
Charles, I'm looking forward to it, man. We always tune into your fights, man. I'm on the edge of my seat every single fight. But look, Charles, that's pretty much it. I'm going to give you the last word, man. Where can the folks find you? Where can they follow you as well? Shout out who you need to shout out, Charles, man.
Yeah, man. Follow me on YouTube, energy_TV. I got a funny little comedy skit series coming up later this year that I filmed months ago. We just been trying to get everything put together nicely for everyone. And then just support, man. Energy MMA on Instagram and TikTok. And follow, like, subscribe, and just show your support. I'm one of the realest in this game. I'm always keep it funky with you, and I'm not gonna beat around the bush. I'm gonna tell you how I feel. So I appreciate all the love and support.
100%, man. Thank you so much for your time, Charles.